Yesterday, I did a little pop-up live stream that I'm going to be doing weekly, so keep an eye out for those. Really good time, had a lot of fun, and again, I'm going to be doing more of those. Someone proposed a trade in the chat. It was Kuminga and a first-round pick to the Miami Heat for Norm Powell and Kel'el Ware. And you can go back at the live stream and see my answer, but I went into this little rant about how Kuminga's looked so far this season. And the next step would be like, hey, can he carry in a game? Can he give us 25 or 30 and the vets take the night off or don't have to do as much lifting? And if he can, every fourth or fifth game, there's a possibility come the trade deadline, Lauri Markkanen's on the table, so-and-so's on the table, and Dub Nation's like, whoa. Not so fast. Right, everyone, whether the team Kuminga, I know you're all on your third victory lap and it's game 4. Let's slow down. But right now, I don't blame you. But the point is that let's talk about what happened tonight. And Memphis Grizzlies, undermanned like they always are, right? Come into Chase Center for the first meeting of the year. Give me a minute today to tell you about today's sponsor, Fume. It's a flavored air device designed to help people move away from vaping. And it's very important for y'all to understand what this product is. There's no nicotine, there's no vaping, just flavor. It comes with a fidgeter on the front, and then of course the oral fixation of smoking. And so, it's been a problem that people don't want to talk about because it's so accessible. And it's something that you can hide. And this is such a better alternative with none of the downsides. Now, they sent me a journey pack with a ton of flavors, a ton of options. The product is super high quality. And what's my channel called? Athletic Alchemy. Alchemizing your energy. And this is a great way to transfer one habit into another, again, without the downsides, a ton of flavor. Over 500,000 people have already added Fume to their daily routine. And I totally get why. It's simple, it's satisfying, and it doesn't come with any of the downsides of vaping or smoking. And right now, if you order the Journey Pack using the code Athletic Alchemy, you'll get a free Fume topper. So if you've been thinking about changing your habits, this is the perfect step. Go to tryfume.com/alchemy or scan the QR code on the screen to grab yours today. No Al Horford, he's resting on the front end of a back-to-back. And Kerr goes with the typical small ball lineup. Pods is in there, Kuminga's in there. Kuminga draws the Ja Morant assignment. Did pretty well. He did all right. But what I wanted to talk about, what stood out to me about Kuminga is he's starting to form an identity in the league here in year 5. He's starting to get veteran calls of who he is, who the referees in the league know him to be. Midway through that first quarter, he puts his shoulder through the rookie, puts him in the basket. And in the past, how many times have you seen Kuminga get a little over-aggressive with the elbow or the shoulder, and he does it, and you're like, oh, you ain't going to get the Giannis call. Like, you ain't going to get the SGA throw-off shoulder move. He got it. Maybe part because it was against a rookie. Couple minutes later, he throws someone out of the way for a rebound. And I'm like, okay, he's getting the vet call, and the refs in the league are kind of understanding like he is an ultra athlete who's physical and aggressive. And so now he's starting to get the benefit of the doubt. But what's excited me the most is the rebounding. It's been consistent through all 4. It's only 4 games, I know, but it's been super consistent. And he's getting nacho rebounds. Rebounds that aren't necessarily his, right? Some guys, you watch the prolific rebounders in the league, if you pay attention, right? They like 3 or 4 of them a night, they're gobbling up or just like dropping to them, and they're just hunting those. It's stat padding. But it is what it is. I don't blame them. It's not like hucking up shots, but Kuminga's getting rebounds that aren't necessarily his. They're 50-50. He's apexing the basketball, and they're rebounds that I don't know if anybody else on the team can get, frankly. And so I think that is super exciting. He has a 25 piece here. And listen, it wasn't like he carried. It was a great team effort. But the original point from the story in the beginning of this is come the trade deadline, come January, February, when all the rumors pick up, it's going to be real interesting to see Dub Nation's temperature on who's available and what's possible with the way he's playing here to start the season. It almost feels, again, it's so early, but just my early feeling, it seems like Kuminga feels more responsibility on the floor. Because he's been given a bigger role, he has got relatively paid. You know, we couldn't have imagined this the way the summer went, right? But it seems like he's just taking more responsibility for the team on the floor because in part he's been given more, right? And then the other thing that he's doing a lot better job of is staying alert through every situation on the floor, right? Like there's a loose ball, he's alert. I think it has a lot to do with the rebounding. When you're hungry for rebounds, it keeps you alert all the time. Right? But he's just been far more alert consistently up and down the court. Pods claps back. Pods responds. First play of the game, they run a pin down for him and he knocks the ball down super confidently. Like he probably worked on that spot a bunch in the warmups, knowing that's Kerr told him, hey, we drawing this up for you, right? And it kind of dawned on me like, they don't ever draw up a play for Pods, right? They don't ever draw up one like, hey, let's get him a good clean look and get him to make give him going right now. And I get it in the player that he is, like the hustle, effort, rebound, second ball handler. It's not necessarily something you do all the time. But when I saw that, I was like, okay, I like it. And you could probably do that a little more when he's struggling to make shots. But what I saw from Pods tonight was a kid that had a chip on his shoulder. Whether it be his own fan base talking or just that he's struggling. It doesn't really matter where it came from, but I like it. I like it. And I think in turn, it caused a decisiveness. What he hit 3 or 4 threes, the runner started to drop, but he was attacking downhill decisively in a straight line on the catch, on the hop. So he's like in motion already, right? And so he responds. You know, again, just one game, but we got the young core to really carry the load in an important night. Because we know we're all circled this Clippers game. There are always going to be a matchup that's circled, at least in this era, right? And then, how about easy money Mo? 5 of them things. This is his second game back. He's already in rhythm, and he just made it look so easy. Like, don't get me wrong here. The jumper, it doesn't look like KD's, but there's something about the calmness, smoothness, like when he's in rhythm, they kind of share the same rhythm. I was like, that's easy money Mo, man. And the reality is because he showed this in the preseason, right? And then he had the calf thing. But if Moses has finally turned into, I don't want to say finally, because I don't think you can expect that from anyone at the pro level. If Moses is going to be a knockdown three-point shooter and continue to defend and help that way, play two ways, maybe the Troy Murphy talk isn't over yet. Nah, but Trey Murphy, not Troy out of Notre Dame. I wonder what he's doing these days. I think that the internal competition with the young players on this team and the depth of this team is healthy. And we're going to see, guys, it's such a long season. There's going to be highs and lows and slumps. It's how do you respond? And tonight, Pods responded, and Kuminga, I mean, it just keeps rising, his value to the team, his comfortability on the floor, and establishing an identity in the league here in year 5. Now, these non-Al Horford games, it becomes really interesting, at least here early on with Quentin and Trace, and like who's going to play more, and like their, again, internal competition. Initially, I didn't like QP going out on Jaren Jackson. I thought that was like, I was like, oh, that's a nightmare matchup. I didn't like that. And he kind of got cooked there in his first stint of minutes. Trace comes in, and Trace there was some, to be fair to him, there was some bad passes that they tried to get to him, but he just, I don't know, he couldn't secure the ball in various scenarios. And it was Quentin who actually played better than Trace in this matchup, which is surprising because on paper, you look at Jaren Jackson, you look at Ja and the pace and everything, you're like, this, because that's what I thought. When Quentin first checked in, I'm like, isn't this a Trace game, Steve? But I was proven wrong. And I think that ironically, he protected the rim really well, really well. And I think what helped him was Memphis's pace because the game was never at a standstill. I think for QP, he gets in trouble when his feet stop moving. Like if the game is stopped in the half court, and he's just standing there, to ask him to rotate and move That's tough. But since the game was flowing and the pace was so high, he was able to keep his feet moving, and he just did a really good job protecting the rim. Memphis, they got a lot of injuries right now, again, like they always do, and they hung around. Draymond fouls out. He just can't help himself with Aldama there. He just, and you know what it is? I mean, we've all felt this as hoopers. You make a mistake, you're frustrated at the mistake you made, and then you take it out with a bad foul in the next play is what happens. But the irony is that kind of felt like the knockout punch, though, right? They give him the flagrant one. Aldama misses both free throws. He's skipping and hopping around. And it wasn't the knockout punch, but it was like the final momentum swing. They never really responded after that. And I think listen, a couple thoughts on Memphis. Again, there's no Zach Edey, no Pippen Jr., no Gigi Jackson, right? So this roster can look significantly different when they're whole, if they ever are. But to me, Jaren Jackson Jr., the reigning was he the Defensive Player of the Year last year? He's won one of them, but I think he might be one of the most overrated defenders in the league simply because he can't stay on the floor. What is his value? You're like, oh man, he's so versatile. He protects the rim so well, but then he has 5 fouls every night. And 3 of them are just boneheaded fouls where he's out of control. Here's how I'll put it to you. If Jaren Jackson Jr. didn't have foul trouble, what kind of defender would he be then? You know what I'm saying? It's his recklessness and his his recklessness that allows him to make a lot of good plays, but then he fouls out every night. He didn't foul out tonight, but that's my thought on that. And I do think they're really going to miss Desmond Bane because Jaren gets in foul trouble every night. Not only does it hurt his defense, it hurts his offense, I think. I think he gets timid offensively when he gets a small switched on him because he's always in foul trouble. And so Desmond Bane had really been the second scorer for Memphis. Who that's going to be, is it going to be by committee with their pace? I'm sure that's the theory on paper. But again, they're never whole. And so the Warriors do a great job here, a team effort, the young core. They don't play with their food. I also thought Steve did a good job down the stretch managing the lead, never letting them get it, stopping things quickly, never letting them get momentum because, again, I think everyone has this matchup against the Clippers circled tomorrow night. Both teams, what are they calling them? Well, they're the 2 oldest teams in the league, right? But I forget what Bob and Buki were calling them, experienced teams. Chris Paul back in Los Angeles, Brook Lopez, John Collins, a healthy Kawhi. This is going to be a real test on the back end here, but you'll have Al Horford, and Steph didn't have to do too much lifting, right? And then you heard them mention on the telecast, Buddy's due. He's missed his last 14 threes. You know what that means. So hopefully the lid comes off for him tomorrow against this Clippers team. I'll be back with a breakdown of this one on Patreon in the morning. I want to really go over some of the Kuminga stuff, some of the nuanced things of what he's been doing. And then, we'll see what time it is against the Clippers. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.